Happy Thursday, everyone. This is Amanda, and welcome to Fresh Start. So if you did not get my message earlier in the group, you might want to grab a strap for tonight's practice, or whatever you've been using as a strap since you've been home. Also, never a bad idea to grab any other props that you might want, like blankets, pillows, blocks, bolsters, anything that you have on hand, and feel free to incorporate it throughout your practice as needed. Likewise, if you ever need to stop and take a rest or come out of a pose or modify for yourself, please feel free to do all of those things as well. Tonight, we will get started laying down. So all the way down on our spines. And let's start laying down with the feet down, knees up. So allowing those feet to go wide on the mat, allowing the knees to fall in towards each other, coming into a constructive resting pose. Beginning to settle in, closing down the eyes, quieting the mind. And just taking a moment to see what it feels like to have the entire backside of your body just melting into the mat. The back of the head, the shoulders, the elbows, the hips, the heels, and the toes. Bringing your awareness to the here and now. Let's begin to shift that focus to the body, doing a scan from head to toe, toe to head. Noticing if there are any places where you're holding tension or tightness. And as you take an inventory of all of those spaces, just set an intention to be kind and gentle to yourself today. And then bringing the awareness to the breath. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And today, just focusing on the fact that you are, in fact, inhaling and exhaling through the nose by saying to yourself mentally, I'm breathing in, and then breathing out. I'm breathing in through the nose. I'm breathing out through the nose. Breathing in and out. A few more just like that, prompting yourselves through the rest of the breaths. And then beginning to return your breath to its normal pace, clearing a space in the mind to set your intention for tonight's practice. And then slowly beginning to flutter the eyes open, bringing the hands down by your sides, and then walking the feet in towards one another so that they're in line with the hips and the knees. Maybe walking those heels in towards the glutes slightly. We're just going to start with some pelvic tilts here. So Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, draw the low back towards the mat. Draw the belly button towards the spine. And slowly release. Inhale. Exhale, engage the low belly, pulling it towards the earth, tilting the tailbone slightly up, and then slowly release. Few more. Tuck that tailbone under, engage the core. Let it go. Exhale, tuck it under. Inhale, release. And last one, tuck it under, hold here. As you hold there, start to draw both knees in towards the chest, grabbing onto the front sides of the knees, and then begin taking circles with the knees in opposite directions here. So one going clockwise, one going counterclockwise, moving in towards each other and then out and away. And then reverse. And coming back to stillness and center. Keep that right knee hugging in, allow the left foot to come down to the mat. Maybe you keep the left foot here or you extend the left leg forward, drawing the right knee towards the right shoulder. So try to avoid drawing it out towards the side of your mat. Yes, you'll be able to get the thigh closer to the earth, but it's better form if we draw that knee right in towards the shoulder. Keep extending that left foot forward, reaching the toes towards the sky. And then slowly continuing to draw the knee in towards the chest. Cross that leg all the way over towards the left side of your mat, coming into a spinal twist. Allow the inner edge of that right foot, maybe the right knee, to come down to something. Right arm comes out to a T. Allow that right shoulder to release down to the mat as you find your twist here. You can keep the gaze neutral, or if you'd like to add on, gazing over that right shoulder. And if you lifted the gaze over the right shoulder, bringing it back to center, and then drawing that right knee back in towards the body. Hugging both knees back into the chest and switching sides. So right foot comes to the earth. Maybe it stays here, or maybe you slide the right leg straight, keeping the leg engaged. Toes are flexed. Draw the left knee in towards the shoulder. Try to keep the spine nice and long on the earth. Just like we practiced at the beginning of class, tucking that tailbone under, neutralize the spine. With each breath, maybe gaining just a little bit of space, closing the gap. And then slowly crossing that left knee across the body all the way over to the right edge. And that left arm comes out to a T. And again, gaze can stay neutral, or you can look over the left shoulder. Bringing the gaze back to center first, and then drawing that left leg all the way back through center. Bringing the left foot down and the right foot down. If your strap is nearby, go ahead and grab it. You're going to unravel it. And as you unravel it, lifting the legs up towards the sky. Bringing the strap around the big toe mound of both feet. So keeping those feet flexed up towards the sky. Legs as straight as possible. And then see if you can pull beyond this legs up the wall, drawing the thighs closer towards the upper body. Getting a nice stretch through the hamstrings. keeping the entire spine on the mat. So if that tailbone starts to curl up, press it back down. You want to focus the stretch on the back sides of the legs, so keeping the feet flexed, keeping the legs as straight as possible, and keeping the spine nice and long will do that for us. See if you can draw the legs a little closer towards the upper body, toes a little closer towards the face. And then slowly releasing the strap from the feet. Keep the legs lifted, but keep the strap in between the hands, reach the arms up overhead. Backs of the hands come to the earth. Slowly with control, draw the low belly down into the mat as you lower the legs all the way down to the earth. As slow as you possibly can. Maybe the core begins to shake. Just noticing the engagement of the body as you make each inch closer towards the earth. Allow those heels to tap nice and long through the entire body. Arms still reaching up overhead. Slowly, we're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Coming up to a nice high seated position. Sit up nice and tall. Draw the shoulders back when you get there. As you exhale, slowly rolling all the way back down, just like we came up, one vertebrae at a time. Reaching those arms back up overhead, backs of the hands come to the mat. Slowly beginning to roll yourself back up. Sitting up nice and tall, lift the heart forward. And exhale, curl it back down. A few more just like that with your own breath. Really engaging the core here to help lift you up. And then also to lower you down with control. 2 more. Last one, we'll slowly roll it all the way up. When you get to the top, sitting up nice and tall, begin to widen the hands, so allow the distance of the strap to increase, pulling the hands apart from each other. And then slowly begin leaning forward so that you can hook that strap around the soles of the feet, coming into your forward fold. If you no longer need the strap when you get here, you can release it, reaching for the feet. If you let go of the strap, try to bring the forearms down towards the earth and draw the crown of the head forward, tailbone back. Firm the thighs down into the mat to get the deepest stretch you can through the calves and the hamstrings. And then slowly beginning to roll all the way up to seated. Let's sweep the legs off to one side, coming to our hands and knees tabletop pose. And from here, shoulders over the wrist, gripping the mat with the fingertips. Today we're going to walk the knees together completely, tuck the toes under. Then, lifting the toes away from the mat, keep the feet flexed. And then spiral the feet out towards the edges of your mat, so internally rotating through the hips. This is something that we don't get to do a lot in yoga, is this internal rotation. And then slowly keep the toes lifted, bring the feet together. Belly's engaged the whole time. Pull the feet apart, reaching them towards the outer edges of your mat. Keep the spine nice and long, gazing down but forward. And then exhale, drawing the ankles together. Inhale, open up. Feet reaching towards the outer edges of your mat. Internally rotating those hips. And then exhale, close it off, bringing the feet back to the mat. Walking the knees so that they're underneath the hips. And let's go through our cats and cows. Inhale, drop the belly, gazing forward. And exhale, round it out. Push yourself away from the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, round and curl. With your own breath pace, going through these movements back and forth. Feeling free to add on any other movements that feel nice here. A few more rounds just like that. And then we'll meet back in a nice neutral tabletop position. From here, extending that left leg long behind, toes come to the earth. Press the heel back and down, stretching through the calf, through the back side of the leg. Begin to shift the weight towards the back of your mat. Keep shifting the weight towards the back of your mat so much that you lift that right knee up off the mat and then reach it up and back to three-legged dog. Point the toes here. As you exhale, draw the right knee in towards the chest. Slowly lower right shin all the way down to the earth. Exhale, press the top of the foot into the mat, lift the knee, lift the right thigh into the chest, and then lift the right leg up and back, three-legged dog. We'll do that a couple more times. Exhale, knee into the chest. Slowly lower, shin down to the mat. As you engage the core, press yourself away from the mat, keep the top of the foot on the earth, and then lift that right leg up and back, three-legged dog. One more time. Exhale, knee to chest. Slowly lower shin down to the mat. Engage the core, press the top of the foot into the mat, and then lift it up and back, three-legged dog. Slowly lower right leg down to meet the left. Inhale up onto the toes. Exhale, coming back to that tabletop pose. So adjust if you need to. And we'll move to the other side. Right leg reaches back. Toes come to the earth, pressing right heel back and down. Spine stays nice and long. Still actively pushing yourself away from the mat. Push the fingers down and forward towards the top of your mat, and then slowly begin to lift that left knee up, pulling it straight up and back into your three-legged dog. Pointing the toes here. Draw the left hip down in space. Exhale, knee into the chest. Lower the shin all the way down to the mat. Press into the top of the foot, lift the left knee into the chest. Lift that left foot up and back, three-legged dog. Two more. Exhale, knee to chest. Slowly lower shin down. As you lift, push the top of the foot into the mat, and then lift it up and back, three-legged dog. Last one. Shifting forward, knee to chest. Slowly lower shin down. Press into the hands, engage the core, and then lift that left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Slowly lowering left leg down to meet the right, maybe shortening your stance, and coming into your downward facing dog. First regular downward facing dog of the practice, so maybe finding some movement here. Whatever movements you're finding today, try to actually feel them out. Instead of just going through the motions of bending one leg and then the other, actually feel what's happening in the body as you take each movement. Why do you always default to the same movements? It's probably because of some sensation that you get. Tune into that. As you're ready, beginning to find stillness, pressing those fingertips down and forward, drawing the shoulders down the back. Lift the tailbone up towards the sky as you send the heels down towards the mat. Inhale, lift the gaze, and then slowly beginning to walk all the way to the top of your mat, coming into your forward fold. Bending the knees a little or a lot. Let's grab those opposite elbows, picture frame the face, and hang here in ragdoll. Begin by shaking the head yes and no. Releasing any tension in the neck and in the shoulders. And then feeling free to find those movements side to side. And again, tune in here. What's happening in your body? Trying to create length through the back sides of the legs. Let's come to stillness and center, releasing the hands down to the earth or to a block. Inhaling, halfway lift, find that length, nice long spine. Exhale, hinge and fold. Slowly bend the knees, rising all the way up to standing. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, thumb tips to heart center, Samastitihi. Inhale, circle sweep. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. From here, let's heel toe those feet a little wider than hip distance, keeping that nice long spine. We're going to rise up onto the heel of the right foot and rotate those right toes out towards the right edge of your mat. Left toe still pointing forward. Walk your hands to frame that right foot. Okay, so almost in a very, very short stance triangle pose. Tuck that right hip back, pulling the left hip towards the top of your mat. Stay here with your spine nice and long, or begin to hinge and fold over the right leg. Keep drawing that right hip back, tucking it up and into its socket. Taking a deep hamstring stretch here, just in a different way than we normally would. Try to keep lengthening through the spine. Inhale, halfway lift. Slowly walk yourself back to the top of your mat. Those right toes follow. And then we'll step that left leg along behind, runner's lunge. Lower the left knee down. And work to extend that right leg long. Draw the toes up towards the face, coming into your half splits. Again, that sensation of drawing right hip back, draw the right heel back as you begin to hinge and fold. Folding over that right leg. Drawing ribs towards the right thigh. Toes point skyward. And you can stay here in stillness or to find a little bit of movement, almost doing a push-up over that extended leg. Inhaling, halfway lift. And then exhale, bending the elbows, folding. Halfway lift and fold. Back and forth. Just bending the arms and then extending them to the halfway lift. Keep drawing the right hip back in space. And last one, pausing here in your fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Slowly plant that right foot down. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up. Rise all the way up, crescent lunge. So that same sensation, drawing that right hip back, it should feel a little easier now. And instead of focusing all of that intensity on the right hamstring, now the focus is on that left hip flexor. Keep lifting that left kneecap skyward, pressing the left heel back and down. Lengthen through the upper body. Inhale. And exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step it forward, wide-legged fold. So again, feet about hip distance apart or maybe a little wider. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, halfway lift. Let's come up onto the heel of that left foot and rotate the left toes out towards the left edge of the mat. Put the foot down and walk the hands to frame that left foot. In this halfway lift, draw that left hip in and back. Hug the inner thighs together. Exhale, begin to hinge and fold over that extended left leg if it feels good. If not, you can just keep that nice long spine in your halfway lift. Both sides are different. On this side, I know I feel it in my calf a little bit more than in the hamstring. So check in with your own body and see if you can notice those small differences from side to side. Keep drawing that left hip in. One more breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Begin to walk yourself back to face the front of the mat. Left toes follow. And we'll plant the hands, step that right foot long behind, lower down onto the right knee, and walk the left toes forward, extending the left leg. Draw the left hip back, draw the toes up towards the face, and again, we'll take that fold here in our half splits. Really just focusing on lengthening that left hamstring, finding that hinge at the hips, instead of rounding through the upper back and shoulders. And again, if you'd like to, you can stay in stillness or find that flow, inhaling halfway lift, and then exhaling fold. Nice and light through the hands. They're just there for support to help you move back and forth gently. Last one. Inhaling, halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, plant that left foot down, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up, rising up, crescent lunge. And again, taking that focus off of the left hamstring, giving it a little bit of a break, still drawing the left hip back though. But work to press the right hip forward and feel the nice stretch on the front side of that right hip flexor. Back leg as straight as it can be. Knit the ribs towards the pelvis, stand up nice and tall. Deep breath in. And exhale, hands come to the earth, stepping forward, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, let it go. Earth to sky all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, circle sweep. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find that length. And as you exhale, plant the hands, stepping back to your high plank. First high plank of the practice. Hug those elbows in towards one another. Wrap the triceps back, shift it forward, lower halfway down. Flip the feet, take your back bend, upward facing dog or cobra. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Let's do a few more just like that, because I've held off for a pretty long time. Inhale, gazing forward. As you exhale, walking, stepping, hopping to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, find that length. And exhale, let it go. Earth to sky all the way up. And exhale, right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause here, notice the hamstrings. They should be, a little less tight than normal. Exhale, hands down to the mat, stepping back to plank. Shift it forward, lower down, and go through your flow. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Taking one more flow. Gazing forward, walk, step, hop it to the top of your mat. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, let it go. Earth to sky, rooting, rising all the way up. Exhale, sending it right back down. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands, stepping or hopping back. Let's go through our flow. And meet in downward facing dog. On an inhale, I'm going to reach that right leg up towards the sky. Try to draw that right hip down. Feeling some intensity on the IT band on that left leg. Maybe into the left hamstring as you send the left heel towards the earth. Exhale, right knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back, three-legged dog. This time as you exhale, draw the right knee into the chest. And we're going to cross that right ankle just above the left knee, coming into a figure four down dog. Rise up onto the toes of the left foot and bend that left knee. Feel a little bit of a stretch on the outer right hip as you press the base of the rib cage towards the thighs. Inhale, lift the gaze forward. As you exhale, roll to the outer edge of that left foot, coming into a figure 4 side plank. Keep that left knee bent, reach the right arm towards the sky, or maybe you use that right hand to press the right knee away. One more breath. Exhale, rewind. Right hand comes down. Press it back to that figure 4 down dog. Draw that right knee into the chest as you shift forward. Lift it up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step it all the way through. Let's rise up, warrior 1. So that back foot comes down at an angle. Focus on those hips. We've been drawing that right hip back all day. Keep drawing it back. Press into the outer edge of that back foot. And maybe lift up on those right toes. Work to lift the back of the heart forward. Deep breath in. Exhale, settle. Inhale, extending that front leg. Exhaling, hands to the hips. So we're drawing that right hip back even more. Begin to lead with the heart. Hinging, folding over that right leg. Keep the spine long. So maybe that means bringing the hands to the top of the thigh. There shouldn't be a lot of weight here, so you're not dumping all of your upper body weight into that thigh. You're still lifting up and away, drawing that right hip back. Maybe the hands come down to the shin, same thing, or maybe to the earth, still the same thing. We're very light in the fingertips, very light in the hands. So in this pyramid pose, we're in a halfway lift. We're drawing that right hip back. Now I want you to untuck the right hip, sweep it out towards the right edge of your mat. And then slowly tuck it back in, hug the inner thighs together. Sweep it out to the right. And then tuck it back in. So making like a half moon shape with the hips, sweep it out to the right. And then tuck it back. Spine nice and long, out. And back. One more, out. And back. Hug those inner thighs together. Left hand plants, right arm reaches skyward, coming into your revolved triangle. So all of that tucking we've been doing, keep tucking here. Reach the crown of the head forward, tailbone back. Exhale, right hand to the mat. Stepping back to plank. And go through your flow. Meeting in downward facing dog. On your inhale, that left leg reaches up and back. Pausing here, draw the left hip down. Feel some intensity in that right hamstring and in the right IT band as you reach the right heel towards the earth. Lengthen the tailbone up and back. Exhale, left knee into the nose, shift it forward. Inhale, up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, knee in towards the nose. This time, we'll hook that left ankle just above the right knee, coming into a figure 4 down dog. Send that left knee towards the back of the mat. Rise up onto the right toes, and then slowly bend the right knee. So if you can imagine, this is basically our one-legged chair shape just from downward facing dog. Keep that left foot flexed. Inhale, lift the gaze forward. Exhale, roll to the outer edge of that right foot and find a figure 4 side plank. Both knees stay bent. Keep that left foot flexed, opening up through the left hip. Draw the shoulders together on the back. And then pressing rewind, left hand comes down. Slowly come back to the right toes. Bend that right knee, press the ribcage towards the thigh. Shift it forward, left knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step it all the way through. Warrior 1. Spin those right toes out, right heel in, and rise up. The outer edge of the back foot is entirely on the mat. Tuck the tailbone under and draw that left hip back. Just finding some openness here in the hips. One more breath. Exhale, hands to the hips as you extend that front leg. And again, we're going to start to lead with the heart, hinging from the hips, so tilt that tailbone up and back. Maybe actually using your hands to do that. Draw the left hip back. And again, find your hand placement on the thigh, on the shin, on the mat. Definitely not on the knee. And definitely wherever the fingertips are lightest. Keeping the spine nice and long, both legs as straight as you can. In this halfway lift shape, we're going to sweep those hips out to the left side of the mat. And then sweep them together, hug the inner thighs. Slowly sweeping the hips out to the left. And then drawing them together. Let it go, sweep it out. And then draw them back together. A few more just like that, creating that half moon shape with the hips. Last one, feeling all of those angles of the hamstring. From here, in your halfway lift, plant that right hand, sweep that left arm up towards the sky. Keep drawing left hip back in space. Reach the base of the right rib cage towards the top of your mat. One more breath in. And exhale, hand comes down to the earth, stepping back to plank, and go through your flow. Meeting back in our downward facing dog. Adding on here, so inhaling, right leg reaches up and back. As you exhale, draw the right knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back, three-legged dog. This time as you exhale, knee into the chest, but cross your right leg entirely over the left leg, ladies do, coming into an eagle-legged downward facing dog. Rise up onto the toes of the left foot and bend the knees. You most likely won't get a double bind, and that is fine. It is not an expectation. Keep pressing the ribs towards the thighs. And as you gaze forward, this time rolling to the inner edge of that back foot. So opening up towards the left side of your mat. Keeping the cross of the legs, lift the hips skyward. Slowly rewind, left hand comes down. Pressing back into the legs. Shift it forward, right knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it all the way through. Rising back up, find that warrior one again. Nice and strong. Drawing right hip back. This time, let's cactus the arms. So goalpost arms, elbows in line with the shoulders, wrists in line with the elbows. Draw the shoulders together on the back. Pinch them together. Lift the heart. Press out through that back foot. And then slowly engage the lats to pull the elbows down towards one another, lifting the heart even higher. Slowly reaching all the way back up. And we'll open out warrior two. Spin that back foot down all the way. And deepen that front knee bend. Hips tucked under. So we've been stretching out those hamstrings all night. In this pose, I want you to engage that right hamstring. Imagine drawing that right heel towards the back of your mat. Deep breath in. As you exhale, crossing the arms, either grabbing opposite shoulders with the right arm on top, or coming into your eagle arms, right arm on top. Press the forearms away from the face. Slowly turning to face the top of your mat, leaning forward, lift that left leg long behind, coming into warrior three. Pressing out through the heel or through the big toe mound of the left foot. Lift your heart away from the mat. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Slowly pressing rewind. We're going to lower those left toes long behind. Rise up, crescent lunge. Unwind the arms, circle sweep. Exhale, both hands inside that right foot. Let's walk the right toes out towards the edge of the mat. Toes out, heel in. As we open the right inner thigh and sole of the foot towards the sky, coming into a high lizard. All of the toes on the left foot are pointing down towards the mat. Keep lifting that back kneecap up. And then draw that right hip back in space. Actively drawing it towards the back of your mat. Lengthen the heart forward. Slowly release the right hip. Lower left knee down to the earth. Untuck the toes and settle in. If you'd like to, adding on a twist, sweeping that right arm up and back, bending into the left knee, and reaching for the top of the foot or ankle. And if you've twisted, come undone. That right hand comes back to the mat. Tuck the left toes under, and let's step it back to plank. Shifting forward, lower down, and go through your flow. Meeting in downward facing dog. Inhaling, left leg up and back. Exhale, left knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, draw that left knee in. And cross the left leg entirely over the right. Begin to rise up onto the toes of the right foot. And bend the knee, coming into your eagle legs. Hug those inner thighs together. Inhale, gazing forward. As you exhale, roll to the inner edge of that right foot, opening up towards the right side of your mat. Instead of allowing the hips to sag, lift them skyward. Keep those inner thighs hugging together. And then pressing rewind, right hand comes down. Press the ribcage back towards the thigh. Shift it forward, left knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back, three-legged dog. And the exhale, we'll step it through, coming into warrior one. Settling into that foundation here. Exhale, cactus the arms. Again, engage the shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades together, lift the heart. Lifting some of the weight out of the low back, tuck the tailbone even more. Exhale, draw the elbow tips down towards the hips, lift the heart. Inhale, reach the arms skyward. Exhale, open out, warrior two. Adjust the feet, adjust the stance. Sink into that front knee bend. And again, focus on engaging that left hamstring by drawing the left heel, or imagining drawing the left heel towards the back of your mat. Bringing the gaze towards the right side of your mat. This time, we'll sweep that left arm on top, either giving yourself a bear hug or coming into your eagle arms. Lift the triceps up, push the forearms away from the face. Slowly turn to face the top of the mat, pivoting up on the back toes, and then extending up and back for warrior three. Draw that right hip down in space, right toes pointing towards the earth. Try to lift the heart forward. Slowly with control, right toes come back down. Rise up, crescent lunge. Undo the arms, circle sweep. Deep breath in. Exhale, hands down inside the left foot. Keep that back knee lifted if you can. And then walk the left toes out, left heel in as you open up into your high flying lizard. One last time I'll call it. Draw that left hip back in space. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Keep the heart open towards the top of your mat. Spine nice and long. All 5 toes on the right foot pointing down towards the mat. Keep that right leg engaged. And then slowly soften in. Right knee comes down to the mat. You can stay here, settling in, or lift that left arm up and back, reaching for the back of your mat, maybe bending into the leg and grabbing onto the foot or ankle. Opening the shoulders up towards the left edge of your mat if you've taken the twist. Slowly releasing, unwind, untwist. Everyone meeting back at the top of your mat. Tuck the right toes under, step it back to plank, and go through your flow. Meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, rising up onto the toes. Exhale, slowly begin to lower the knees all the way down to the earth. Walk the hands in towards the body as you come up to a high kneeling position. Let's bring those hands to the low back, using the hands to push the hips forward, driving the hips over the knees, lift the heart, draw the elbows together. Just settling in here, finding the engagement, sending the hips forward. Try to lift some of the weight out of the low back by lifting the heart towards the sky, coming into a modified camel. So instead of just bending back, we're looking to lift and lengthen gradually. Slowly rising all the way back up, bringing the hands to the mat. Tuck the toes under, extend the legs, finding forward fold at the back of your mat. Allow the hands to sweep down in front of you. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Earth to sky all the way up. Maybe taking a slight back bend at the top. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk the hands about a foot in front of you so you can rise up onto the toes and then come back to that high kneeling position. We're going to try our camel one more time. You can come back to the same variation as before, or if you'd like to, starting there, driving the hips forward, lifting the heart skyward, and then maybe reaching one hand down for the ankle, and then the other. Keep sending the hips forward, finding a nice spread across the chest, across the ribs. And then slowly bringing the hands back to the low back and rising all the way back up. Untuck the toes and sit back onto the heels. Allow the back to reset here for a moment. Taking your time, but as you feel ready, sweeping the legs off to the left side of your mat. Bringing the right foot towards the top of the left thigh and the left foot out towards the left edge of your mat. Try to even out the weight through the hips, sitting up tall. And we'll sweep that right hand behind, and then the left hand comes to the top of the right knee. Twist yourself to face the right edge of the mat and gaze over the right shoulder. Reversing what we did all practice of drawing that hip back. This time we're going to be sending that left hip forward. Try to keep that right hand in nice and close to ensure that you're sitting up really tall. Slowly unwind, untwist. I'm going to plant the hands behind us, lean the weight back so that we can switch sides with the legs. Left foot comes to the top of the right thigh, and that right foot comes back behind you. Left hand sweeps towards the back of the mat as that right hand comes to the top of the thigh. Press that right hip forward and take your twist. She always wants to join at the end of practice. Someone loves her Shavasana. Come on in. Are you coming? Keep twisting. And then slowly unwinding and twisting. Again, leaning the weight back into the hands so that you can bring the feet forward, feet down, knees up, and slowly begin to make your way all the way down onto your spines. All the way down onto the mat. From here, walking those heels in towards the glutes. Let's take one more back bend here. Arms come down by your sides. As you inhale, lifting the hips gently towards the sky. Maybe walking the shoulder blades underneath the back. Work to puff the heart up towards the chin, lifting the hips a little higher. And slowly begin to roll down, feeling each and every vertebrae, one at a time. Let's grab onto the knees, hug them into the chest gently. Maybe a rock from side to side. Coming back to center. Reaching through for the outer edges of the feet or the ankles as you find your happy baby. Sending that tailbone down long on the mat, lengthening the spine from crown to tail. Draw the shoulders down into the mat. Keep a hold of that right foot. Slowly allow the left foot to drift down to the mat. Keeping the knee bent. And then extending that right leg towards the sky. So grabbing on behind the right thigh, the right calf, or all the way to the bottom of the foot. Just like in our happy baby, we want the shoulders grounded, we want the tailbone grounded. Sending that right hamstring towards the top of the mat as you flex the toes towards the face. If you'd like to, you can extend that left leg forward. See if you can pull the leg a little closer towards you. And then gently being kind to yourself, releasing it. Bringing the right foot down to the mat. Draw the left knee back in. Reaching for the outer edge of the foot or the ankle to start. And then extending the leg towards the sky. Checking in with the backside of the body. Noticing if it's still plugged into the mat or if parts of you have started to roll away. If parts of you have started to roll away from the mat, maybe the shoulders or the tailbone, walk the hands down the leg towards the torso. You can always go deeper. active. One more pull of the leg towards you as you press the hamstring away. And then gently bending into the left knee and releasing the left foot all the way down to the mat. From here, arms come out to a T, crossing that right leg over the left, like ladies do. Crossing right thigh over the left, hips move to the right as the knees fall to the left, coming into your spinal twist. Try to allow the lower half of the body to relax and release. And as you're ready, taking one more deep breath in. Sending it directly to the low back. Bringing the gaze back to center, bring the legs back to center. And we'll unwind, untwist, and set up for the opposite side. So crossing opposite leg over, hug the inner thighs together. As you move the hips off to the left side of your mat, the knees will fall over to the right. Once more, focusing on releasing any tension below the belly button, the hips, the hamstrings, the quads, the inner thighs, even the calves. One more deep breath in and out. Coming back to center. Uncrossing those legs, recentering yourself on the mat. And then slowly extending yourself long. Again, being kind, maybe taking a moment to grab some props, pillows, blankets, bolsters, to help you set up for your final resting pose. And as you're ready, closing down the eyes and allowing your body to surrender here. Surrendering into this final shape as you find your Shavasana. As you're ready, allowing gentle movement to return to the body. Wiggling fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles. from side to side. Reaching the arms up overhead for a nice long body stretch. And then hugging knees into the chest as you roll over to your favorite side. Making your way up to seated on the mat. Hands come down by your sides. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up overhead. As you exhale, press the breath out and away. Inhale, rising up, reaching up. And exhale, let it go. One more deep breath in from earth to sky, breathing in the energy and vitality we've created and drawing it home to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Taking this energy out into the world and sharing it with everyone you meet. Honoring the light inside and teacher in us all. From my heart to yours. Namaste. And thank you for joining me today. I hope that your hips and hamstrings and low back feel amazing, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you.